Hello everybody and welcome to Couno Cast, your bi-weekly podcast discussing all things IT and business. I'm James Sharples from Couno and we're going to welcome for this first episode Victoria Lomax from Datto.
Hi James, good to see you.
Good to see you. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure, so I am a partner account manager at Datto. Been doing that for a little over 2 years now. I started out working for IT value-added resellers in the UK. That was about 6 or 7 years ago, and from that decided that I wanted to work with wider IT services, managed services companies, impart a little bit of knowledge of what I've learned over the last 6 or 7 years and continue to help end users with their IT needs, requirements and understanding what the modern threat landscape looks like.
Okay, so we're going to be talking all of those things. We're going to be talking disaster recovery, backups, pain points, testing, and we're going to be doing that in our conference suite, which we'll switch to now. We're in the conference suite. We're going to be discussing some points today. So we're going to be talking about business continuity, the importance of Datto and why Datto. We want to touch why you came into the industry and wanted to go to Datto as well. We also want to discuss backups, changing mindsets. We're going to have a brief discussion around re-educating people and some of the questions that I love, which I'm sure you will as well, and then pain points from companies as well. So I guess I really want to start off and talk to you about why you chose Datto.
Yeah, sure. So obviously coming from resale land, I was in a very fortunate position that I could resell any technology that I wanted to. I could talk to any company really that I wanted to and see what they were interested in, what they already knew about. And what was a big difference for me was with Datto, it does for the business continuity disaster recovery solutions, does the hardware, the software and the off-site cloud element, which I just hadn't really seen in any other technologies, and being able to have all three key elements of a business continuity disaster recovery solution under one roof made such a huge difference. So in the event that there is a disaster recovery scenario, it's one number to ring.
And one throat to choke. So
exactly that. And for managed service providers such as yourselves, it's a lot easier in the sense that you can provide a better service to your end user customers, because with us not giving the support to the end user themselves, you guys can have straight tech access on our support phone line. So if one of your customers called up and say, hey, we've got an outage, there's an incident, you guys can call through straight to Datto to a tech who can help get you back up and running.
Fantastic. In our ever-changing digital world, it's ever-evolving is the technology that we have now. It's actually scary to think, if you take back to the 1900s as to where we are now, technologically. What do you think's changed?
I think a lot has changed in all honesty, but a lot of it is being driven by the consumer landscape and businesses catching up afterwards. So we're trying to connect all sorts of things to the IT infrastructure, to a network these days, and a lot of that has been driven from our home lives and what we want to do there. So we've got toasters.
Like everything instantly now.
We've got smartphones, smart TVs, everything wants to be smart and connected to the internet, and we want to have a service as and when we want it. We don't want to interact with a human every time we need something anymore. We just want to be able to click on something and there it is.
It is a worrying stat though, isn't it? When you talk about, I think there's a stat out there, they're estimating by 2020 there'll be sort of 21 billion devices worldwide. It's like 2.8 per every human on the planet. It is actually worrying when you think just going to be run by robots.
And what's a big concern for tech companies such as Datto that operate in the cybersecurity space is that every single device that connects to the network is a potential risk.
Yeah, of course it is. It's a threat.
Yeah, and the person operating that device, they're also a risk. And then we've got the bad guys out there who are another risk. So the top 3 causes of downtime to businesses, and they are roughly around a third each with a few other things thrown in, is human error, hardware failures, and cybersecurity threats from hackers and ransomware and whatever else.
Yeah, so it's one thing I love that people think that hackers are just this mythical illusion. It is a genuine risk and a genuine threat, and I love it when people really think that their business isn't going to be affected, in that they're just going to target the big boys, they're just going to go for British Airways, or they're just going to go for Amazon, whereas over 60% of attacks nowadays are aimed at medium to small businesses, or small to medium sized
definitely, and there's actually ransomware out there. There was one that basically went off the Big Mac index, so based on how much a Big Mac would cost in your local area, that would determine how much the ransomware was going to ask you to pay in your local area. So it's important to bear in mind that, you know, these hackers now, they're not 12-year-olds sat in their mum's basement. They're running as actual companies in their own right. So if you were to go onto the dark web, you would actually be able to buy a ransomware business in a bucket effectively, and that will come with the ransomware scripts that you need to run. It would come with your bucket to collect your bitcoins in, and in a lot of cases it comes with a list of contacts and also tech support, just in case your ransomware isn't quite working as expected.
Because we can run reports for people on the dark web, and some of the reports we get back are worrying. And just the stats that they put at the top there, so you can buy 500,000 unique entries on the dark web for like $50, which is the equivalent of, I don't know what the exchange rate is now, but for something that minimal, to be able to get that much information that can be damaging to a business is terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
It is definitely the stuff that keeps people up at night, especially if you're, you know, the named person that's responsible for your security plans and your disaster recovery plans and IT infrastructure within a business. So a big thing that's changed is obviously people have realised they can monetise this, and that Europe has the highest growth rate in ransomware out of any region globally. So something that needs to be a bigger concern for everybody is this is a multi-billion-pound industry in itself, ransomware.
Worth more than drugs, racketeering and prostitution put together.
Definitely. Equally as legal as some of the other options on that list. But yeah, definitely something that we all still need to be concerned about. And the whole concept of this just won't happen to me, the amount of times that we hear that and then we hear it has happened.
I love hearing that.
Definitely conversation that happens quite a lot, and the disastrous consequences when people just wanted to bury their head in the sand and not think about it happening to their business. And so really the three main things that are driving this change of people caring more about business continuity and having a full disaster recovery plan is the human error, hardware failures, and having this risk of ransomware and cyber hackers that are out there. And you know, the insurance companies for businesses, they've really wised up on this as well. So a lot of businesses now, if you go to get business insurance, you'll be asked, what is your disaster recovery plan? Have you done a disaster recovery test? Is it documented, and can you share that with us?
Okay, so let's discuss the subject of business continuity. You know, business continuity, what is it? Why is it important? Just to give a brief outline of that.
Yeah, sure. So people really now are more focused on business continuity because it's a lot higher risk, a lot higher value leakage to the company if you're not continually up and running. So if you suffer an outage and you have downtime within your business, it's not just a case of considering the operational cost of downtime, what you have to pay your employees, you've still got to keep the lights on and any other commitments that you still have to meet. There's also the risk of the revenue that isn't coming into the company by people not working. So it's not something that's just important for e-commerce businesses or anything like that anymore. It really comes down to veterinary practices, dental, any form of business, that can't afford to have that level of downtime. So the average stats are around employees typically are paid around £25 an hour, and that £25 an hour that you're paying an employee actually generates around £75 of revenue coming back into your business. So people are a lot more focused on these sort of numbers now. Insurance companies ask what your disaster recovery plan is, and everyone's just so much more focused on not having any risk of money not being there.
So is there an easy way to calculate that? Can we calculate that in any way, shape or form? Is through Datto?
Yeah, definitely. So Datto provide our partners such as Couno with something that we call the recovery point objective, recovery time objective calculator. And what that does is the recovery point objective focuses on how much data can you afford to lose, how much work from your employees could you afford to lose if there was an outage and some downtime. And your recovery time objective is how quick do we need to get you back up and running, how long can you afford not to be working for. And Datto have made a calculator that you can go through with Couno, so if anybody is interested in finding out what the operational cost of downtime to your business would be, get in touch with James and the team here and they'll be able to go through those numbers with you.
And what's that based? Is that based on sort of number of employees? Is it based on...
Exactly that, yeah. So it will look at the amount of data that you have as a business, the number of employees, what your average cost per employee is, and just general stats around operating your business. And what you're actually also able to do on this calculator is have a look what your operational cost of downtime is on your current solution.
Okay.
If you even think already that you might have business continuity and disaster recovery in place, there will still be an associated cost of downtime, so you'll be able to work out what that would be and what it perhaps would be, hopefully better, on the Datto solution. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, as we were talking about that, it wouldn't happen to us philosophy, you know, and these sort of dispelling myths. I love some of the answers that you get from people when you are trying to pitch the products. One of which is, it wouldn't happen to us, you know, that's what the NHS said, and nobody thought the NHS would get hacked because of the security that you thought they must have in that. You know, what would your answer be for one of these myths? Oh, it wouldn't happen to us.
I'd say that a lot of companies say that until they can't say it anymore. So we provide our partners with end user demonstrations quite a lot, and I've jumped on multiple calls where we've, you know, displayed the Datto technologies. We've had a conversation about the risks that are out there with a certain company that come back. It could be 3 months, 3 weeks later, and it has happened to them.
Yeah.
And there's no distinguishment anymore between who it will and won't happen to. And it is made that simple that the youngest person prosecuted in the UK for distribution of ransomware was 12 years old. But that goes...
Mad.
Yeah.
Absolutely
not what
mad.
I was doing at 12, but somebody decided to be entrepreneurial and maybe focus it in the wrong direction.
Madness.
And when you...
I think I was jumping in lakes at 12 years old. I think that's what kids should be doing nowadays. Everybody's just on the computers in this digital world.
Everyone lives on their phones, everyone lives in IT in some way now. So, yeah, that was a thing that happened. And for the companies that were, or individuals that were affected by that, that then goes up the chain. So if you think, oh, well, that wasn't too bad, or we weren't affected too badly, then you are now marked on the dark web as somebody who is susceptible.
Yeah, so you're like on the radar then. Yeah,
exactly.
You're sort of there, that's the first point of contact.
And then you start getting sold up to the next big fish in the pond.
Yeah.
And eventually somebody is going to hit you with a more complex form of ransomware or more complex form of phishing or spear attack, whatever it might be, to what you were susceptible to the first time, that you may not now be able to recover
phishing
from.
attacks, we're going on to that, and I'm touching on phishing attacks, sorry. They've become so much more advanced nowadays. You know, when you used to get it when it'd be something like Amazon spelt wrong with an S, or .gov.x.3.2. Like, nowadays it literally does pretty much come as a template of what you would look like your account, would have your details in it, the password starred out as it should be, and it'll say something like 50 quid voucher. We do tests, because we can do tests on that, and we often run in-house testing here, and Thea is one of the ones obviously like 50 quid voucher, yeah, I'm clicking on that, and then they're in.
Yeah.
And so it is a scary world once you see how much they replicate and how clever those different screens are to drag you in on phish attacks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people affected by them, especially recently now that they've got more advanced. And the other thing that comes up in conversation a lot around this is, well, we're going to be okay because we're not running Exchange on premise anymore. Our MSPs advised us about this and we've moved to the cloud. And now Microsoft are looking after our data and nothing bad can possibly happen.
Yeah, nothing can possibly go wrong. We're selling a magical cloud, a floating cloud of matrix data. So when people do say that it's alright, I'm in the cloud, what is your answer to that?
I think it's important to remember that the cloud is just somebody else's computer. It's not this mythical land that sometimes we're led to believe that it is. It's just a case, I don't want to run this service myself, I want somebody else to run it and to have access.
Yeah.
So their hardware is still susceptible to failure. They're still susceptible to human error. They have employees. You're accessing the service. You're still a threat.
And when you actually
to that service.
pull that down with the human error fact, you know, they say that most attacks and most breaches nowadays are 95% human error. So there is always going to be that human error element. So yeah, well, it is somebody else's computer. It's not this wonderful mystical land of floating above us. It is still a risk.
Definitely, and it's something that's important to sort of remember about why we all of a sudden care more about business continuity and backups, is we're always playing a game of cat and mouse with the bad guys, and they are, unfortunately for us, very innovative in what they do, and they have their finger on the pulse. They know that there is this public perception that things in the cloud are safe.
Yeah.
So they have now actually started making something called Ransom Cloud, which is direct ransomware attacks to Office 365 or other software as a service applications, because they know that this vulnerability exists.
Talking about the Office 365, you know, we educate people on that. We've educated many SMBs over here with the Datto solution. Unfortunately, serve them the Datto solution. That's why we've become a Datto Platinum partner, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get you down today to talk about that. But it does beg the question that if they didn't realise that weakness within their DR, what other weaknesses is there?
Definitely a wider conversation that we have with a lot of our partners and a lot of their customers and the end users that they work with. And as you're already aware, something that is available to any of Couno's customers that have a Datto, Cirrus or Alto, the business continuity disaster recovery devices, they can get regular disaster recovery tests to make sure that everything is working as expected. If something changes in their network, they can get an additional one from you guys and make sure that everything is still going to work as expected.
Everything's still okay, it's still working. You know, it's like, because it is worrying when one of my main annoyances that I see within the IT world is like IT's threat, like, I suppose you could say it's like healthcare. You know, I don't know many people that would constantly go to the doctors to have a regular health check, that would go over there and say, oh yeah, can you tell me what I need to eat please? Can you tell me what I need to do wrong? And they treat it reactively rather than proactively, and we so try to promote that it's better to be proactive and prevention is better than the cure.
Definitely.
You know, because when it goes wrong, it can go monumentally wrong. You know, a lot of the time an illness within the IT infrastructure can be terminal. When you look at SMBs and says 66% or over 60% of SMBs will close within 6 months of a serious breach. So it is good to have the peace of mind that with Datto you can get regular notifications that everything is working well, everything is healthy, and you're on your way to a healthy infrastructure.
Yeah, and just for a peace of mind as a small medium business owner, if you can go to bed at night going, well, not only did my backup get taken, it is a bootable image, it can be used in the event of DR, and I don't need to worry about it anymore. The night all can
go in the bin.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for coming down. We hope you've enjoyed our first Couno Cast, episode 1 with Victoria. We'd like to thank you very much for coming down. We will release this on Friday, and we shall see you all soon.